This is the sound now. How is the sound right now? Didn't hear that. This is the sound now. How is the sound right now? Sounds good.
Testing. But yeah, mic works. Need to turn the TV sound off. Otherwise, feedback.
Try that again.
Testing. 1, 2, 3. Does this work? Bit of a delay. It works. Yeah, it works. It's a bit weird that it happens a minute later, but it works.
Just kidding. Okay, I can just keep on blabbing. Okay then, right. Speakers, Microsoft, That's fine. That was just my face. Wonderful. And do I want HD? Okay, I can just keep on blabbing. Okay, just fine. Okay, I don't need to hear myself in duplicate. Please stop.
That's perfect. start using Harry will be popping up in a minute, I think, for his introduction, but we'll give him a few minutes just to get here. But thanks everyone for attending this month's Power BI Data Analytics User Group for April. Weather's getting a lot nicer, days are getting a bit longer, which is nice, and it's nice to see everyone out watching or going to listen to us talk about Power BI for an evening, though I'd rather be sat in a beer garden somewhere. But hopefully it'll be just as enjoyable for you guys today as well. We've got Holly Smith, who's travelled down from London for us to talk about Databricks, which is going to be very interesting. And Sean Best with his best ever Power BI report ever, now, in the past and in the future as well. So I'm really looking forward to that as well. In terms of the schedule for this evening, so I'll start by just a quick intro, so we won't spend too long introducing everyone. Sean Best will start with us in about 10 minutes. We'll have a quick break, and then Holly Smith. We'll have some pizza networking after that. Close at around 8:30, 8:45, and nice weather, so we can go out onto the town this evening as well. Okay. Sponsors for the event, Gravitas. So thanks to them for sponsoring the event, providing us space and food and drink for the evening. This is a QR code they provided, so you can scan this and it will go straight to their website, and you can upload your CV. If there's any roles you're looking for a change of role, change of job, take a picture, and then you can sort of upload your CV directly to their website as well. Okay. I'll give Harry a few minutes when he pops up just to introduce themselves and what they do as well. So just a quick little bit about us. So we started just prior to 2020. We now have over 950 members, which is what I wanted to sort of achieve. We started, I think, at the beginning of the year with around 800, and with the consistency events that we've had month on month, we can see naturally the growth that's coming through, which is great. And the sort of images and the details you share online as well with through social media and LinkedIn, etc. Really helps sort of push I guess our details and our user group out there as well. We now streaming live on YouTube as well, so those people who can't make it in person can also watch online, and then you can watch events usually afterwards as well, except for last month we had a bit of a technical issue with last month's event if you were here. We'll always work with local speakers, companies and organisations. Sean's one of our local guys in Leeds. He's been attending these events for a number of years as well, which is great to see. If anyone else wants to join in and have a go at presenting as well, please speak to myself later on as well. And with sort of Gravitas and with the Hippo Digital and Accenture, we are sort of dedicated to growing sort of tech community in the north as well. Okay. So a quick intro to Sean. So he's going to walk us through a showcase of his one of his Power BI reports, including dynamic branding, one-click drill-throughs, flexible metrics, etc. Sean's principal consultant at Kite Street Data. He's been a BI developer for over 10 years now, and he's sort of been focusing on Power BI Fabric and Azure over the last few years. So we'll have Sean shortly. Holly will be talking about Databricks and how Databricks does analytics, data warehouses, and a whole lot more. It does a lot of things. I myself don't know too much about Databricks as well, so we're looking forward to that and understanding what it can do. All our day-to-day activities as well. So looking forward to that. Just some socials again. Online, we've got our LinkedIn user group on the left-hand side. Got my LinkedIn in the middle to tag in or connect with me as well for any sort of information you might need, and the iWhiskey YouTube channel. So this one on the right-hand side will just connect you to the YouTube page, and you can watch all the previous sessions on there as well. Okay. So I mentioned this a few times. So I'm personally running some workshops as well. I've done a couple already. So introduction to Power BI and advanced Power BI. The next one we have is the data modeling for Power BI, which is on the 9th of May If you are interested in attending those as well, these are paid sessions. We do also have sponsorships as well available. So if you aren't coming through a company and you're coming through yourself, we can get sponsorship for you if you're unable to sort of make that payment as well. So if you are interested, get in touch again with myself, and then we can sort of talk about data modeling. We've also got a dashboard design masterclass coming up on the 6th of June as well. Next month we're going a little bit different. So we've got Dr. Phil Winder, who's the owner of CEO of Winder AI. So he'll be talking about some AI languages and our sort of language models, better UX for analytics. And then we've also got Lewis Holmes, who's sort of our resident. He's done a couple of sessions before, and he's going to write data from Power BI with translytical task flows as well. At the moment, we haven't got a location, so I'm still sorting it out. It might be on the street, or in Beer Garden somewhere. We'll get that sorted for sure. But hopefully, that'll be on the 15th of May next month with Dr. Phil and Lewis Holmes. So please give a warm welcome to our first speaker, Mr. Sean Best. You can come on up and let's swap PPTs over.
Right.
Yep.
Testing. Sounds like we've got sound. Okay. Right. Are we ready?
Yep.
Are you staying there? Okay. Okay. Right. Hi, everyone. I am hardwiring to try and avoid any kind of technical difficulties, so just bear with me. Can everyone see the screen okay? Simon, you've got quite an angle there. Are you all right? Okay, cool. So this is the rather humbly named best Power BI report ever, past and future. So I thought if we're going to go for it, we might as well go big. This is the first time I've lifted the curtain. Really, I've spoke twice here before, but I've kind of hidden behind general kind of philosophy and governance and stuff like that. And there's nowhere to hide. It's either the best Power BI report ever or it isn't. So so let's go ahead. So I've given 2 talks before. That's me. There's a LinkedIn thing if you want to connect. I'm joined to most of you on LinkedIn anyway. I run a small consultancy called Kite String Data. It's very small. Sometimes it looks like one person if you squint. And I've made a showcase. I finally made a portfolio. dashboard, and I've titled it the best Power BI report ever. So that's what we're going to do today. Right. I'll just see if I can get the mouse working. Right, the brief. If I can get the mouse working. Right. The phone rang, literally. 5 years ago, I started my consultancy, and I made a website, hoping that the request would just start rolling in with a 01 something number, and nobody rang it for ages, years and years. Everyone I was working with, they already knew me. They had my personal number. They were referrals. But finally, after 3.5 years of having the website open, somebody rang. And they said, I want a Power BI dashboard. And I said, that's exactly what I do. I've only waited a long time. So they were a client. They make, I've had to change. So if I end up accidentally telling you what they actually make, that might happen. But for the sake of this dashboard with simulated data, they make suites and they sell them to 6 segments of shops. And those shops sell them onto us. They're a big, large-scale international manufacturer of suites. Okay, they've got some data. They've already got some. So they've got some market data. They're paying 6 figures a year for market data of all the retailers in the UK, and by segment, both sales and volume to the individual product. So they've got every single suite that is sold in the UK on a weekly basis. Is the audio okay, Shab? Yeah. Cool. So they said, we've been paying all this money. We're not really getting the value that we want out of this. We keep on attacking it with Excel from different pivot tables. It's not really working for us. We need someone to make us a dashboard. And they needed a dashboard so that they could have it in front of the segment's account holder every 2 weeks for an account review. And this was their dashboard wish list. So they wanted to be able to answer any market sales related question in real time in the actual meeting, because they kept on getting into arguments with the with their vendors by saying you're underperforming in here, and the vendor would say no, we're not, and then it would be a 1 week turnaround analytics task to try and work out if they were underperforming, and then they say your price per unit has gone up, and we haven't had our incremental price per unit sell on to you increase, so where are you getting the inflation from, vendor? And they say, well, our price per unit hasn't gone up, and they would say, I'll get back to you in a week. So they kept on having this in meetings, the account review meetings, and they said, we want all these decisions and actions and analysis, just shrink it to milliseconds. That's what we want. The second thing is that it should knock the segment account socks off. So not just the segment account holders socks off, but everyone inside all the account people needed to. They're on Excel. They've been on Excel for 4 years. They've had failed attempts at Power BI before. They want something that's really glamorous. They're turning up in their electric cars. They've got their iPads. They want the glamour of the account review process to extend to the dashboard. They want it to look good. It's a Power BI only architecture. So between you and me, they're doing it without IT's approval. They've come to me directly. They've got a Power BI license, and that's it. And I have to install it covertly behind enemy lines. And it needs to have a pie chart. So a shout out to Johnny Winter, who did Dumb Ways to Pie last month. He argued that you should never put a pie chart in. And he's correct. However, there are certain times when a pie chart is necessary. And it's when the client sells something that could be described as a pie. So if they literally sell something that is round and divided into segments and given to people, and their logo is something that's round and divided into segments, and they ask for a pie chart and they say they really want it, then you are allowed to give them a pie chart in that very rare circumstance. So unfortunately, the best dashboard ever does have a pie chart front and center. So we will proceed. I did a quick metric sweep with the client. So they've been on Excel for years. They've paid 6 figures for this data. They're not novices. They know what they want. They want sales, volume, price per unit. They're thinking about time periods. It's all weekly. They're thinking this week, 4 weeks, last 12 weeks. That's all they want. They don't want 8 weeks. They don't want 20. They're happy with them. Time compare is always this year versus last year. They don't care about quarters. It's retail sales. So they're thinking about the annual cycle, Christmases, Easter, Halloween, that kind of thing. Metric compare, they're thinking raw amount and percentage change. So quite straightforward. And they care about the segment. They really care about that because that's who they're having the account review with. The product family, and the product manufacturer. I've put saturation and rate of sale in brackets because they were harder to get. Saturation is they want to know how many stores inside that segment, as a percentage of all the stores, are selling that particular product or family in a week. And that was harder to get because it wasn't really in the data. And same with rate of sales. They want to know, of the stores that stock it, how many of them are selling it. So it's slightly more complicated because you need to know the number of stores and do some quite difficult aggregation. So I've put them in brackets and said they're hard to reach, but we'll do the rest of it straight away. Okay, so essentially the solution is going to be a dashboard with metrics over time by legend and filters. It's a basic vanilla bread and butter dashboard. It's not going to be a really fancy esoteric use case. It's going to be 90% of BI dashboards that come in are going to have this kind of pattern to them. So luckily, the best Power BI dashboard ever tackles that pattern full on. So first things first, we're going to need a data model. Many thanks to Sheb. He gave a talk a year and a half ago about how to use Power Query to do IDs and dedupe and do the index column and then reference it and then get it in a different table. And yeah, he taught me things I had no idea. And because it's a Power BI only architecture, and normally I like SQL, but because it's Power BI and I have to use Power Query and it's covert behind enemy lines, all of that came in really handy. So thank you, Sheb. That really saved my bacon on that one. So we managed to make a beautiful star schema data model. I've got a slight bit of snowflaking. You're not really meant to have a segment dim connected to a logos table with a one-to-one connection in a pure star schema, but it was something that I thought was justified, so I did it. Right. Problem. The client wants 6 reports. So they've got all of these, they want to sit down with each segment and they want each report to be tailored to the uses of that segment. And the problem is, I only want to give one report because it's a nightmare deploying multiple versions of the same report. I don't know if you've ever done this before, but if you've ever copied and pasted a report for the one specific audience, and if you ever copied and pasted it again and then tried to progress and update and keep it in sync with all the different reports, there may be some kind of revolutionary deployment technology that makes it easy to get the latest version of truth and seamlessly deploy across 6 different data models and reports. But I haven't found it yet. So I like one report which covers everything and one data model, because the idea is you can do a really quick iteration. If when the client needs a tweak, when they say, oh, can you change this color? I can just go to the service, download the current report. I know it's live. I know it's the production report. It's a one-click download. I can open the file, change it, and deploy it in 2 clicks. So that's why I want one report. I do not want to give them a copy and paste version with hard-coded filters in the back end of 6 reports. And the client says every single segment needs their own brand logo and colors. They need to have sales and volume preference. So some of them work with sales, some of them work with volume. And they want time intelligence. I'm really sorry, Shab, I can't turn this up. It's automatic by the laptop. Yeah, brand logo and colors, including images, sales versus volume. So the core metrics, they want to be able to switch that on the fly. And they want to be able to switch their time intelligence choice, because certain segments want 8 weeks, not 8 weeks, 4 weeks. Certain segments want 12 weeks. Certain segments care about this week. And they want every meeting to be aligned with that segment's review process. And I said, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. We'll do all of that. And we'll make that all user customizable in the one report. So I think it's time I show you the report. This is it. It won't be silent for the rest of the talk. There's the pie chart. There's a time series, quite a cluttered one. That's the full dashboard. So I'm going to take it step by step. How did we do the branding? How do we do the dynamic branding, colors and logo? And this is where we're going to get technical, which is something I haven't done here before. Dynamic branding, so two disconnected, that logos and segment dim, that illegal one-to-one join. The logos is a series of notepad documents where we've converted the segments, logo and branding. They actually had two different logos. They had a small one and a big one. We've converted that to a base 64 text on the internet. You can just type in base 64, code to base 64, put the image in, and it'll do that for you. We've got 6 notepads in a SharePoint folder, and that logos table is made by a Power Query that goes to that folder, opens all the notepads, and then puts them together. Then this is really lifting the kimono. We faced a problem where Power BI doesn't. We wanted high resolution images. It's meant to be glamorous, and you can only get, I think it's 300 bits or something in a single base 64 text image in Power BI, unless you have multiple base 64 images split out over different columns, and then concatenate them in DAX, and then limitless. So we split it out by delimiter into different columns, 400 or 300 characters each, so 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, and then we concatenate them together into a single string in DAX, and then it displays like these beautifully high resolution images, which is nice. So the segment dim is going to be a disconnected. Oh no, it's not a disconnected table. It's the current parent table. Nothing's going to be filtering that other than the segment dim. We're going to put that as the filter, the first filter. As soon as the user clicks that, the logo is connected to it with the one-to-one join. Will filter automatically, and suddenly it has one value, logo segment. And then we go into the if chain. And if it does have a filtered value, it concatenates the base 64 images together. If it doesn't, it falls back to the default, which is there's more than one segment selected. We're going to go to the nice kind of global image, which is secretly hidden in there. So you've got 5 there, and you've got kite string data hiding in there as the global default, which will fall through that selected value. Compared to the image, the color was pretty easy. We just put in a hex value for each of them in the same table, and then same trick. It's exactly the same DAX. If you kind of squint your eyes and stop looking at the concatenate in the middle, it's the same DAX. Right, so that's the dynamic branding taken care of, and then every single visual I've meticulously done the dynamic coloring to make sure it's either got the primary color or the secondary color, and the image you can just put that in a card, I think. Okay, Simon Devine. Last year, when I was making this dashboard, you showed an automated starter guide walkthrough at your talk, which blew my socks off. I had no idea that was genius. So I stole it. I'm really sorry about that completely, and I offered it to the client as a lure to say, can I use this in my portfolio as a public dashboard? I won't use any of your data, but if you say that I can use this and talk to people in public about this, then I'll throw in an automated starter guide walkthrough for free. And they said yes. So you have made this possible. So thank you. And I'll show you that automated starter guide walkthrough now. So we take on our metric. We choose our time intelligence. Then we're going to go slightly off script here. It shows the deep dive elements because users sometimes get a bit scared. So I thought I'd show them that it's okay. You can click on deep dives. Comes back, and then the most important the most important feature in Power BI for any user ever is that green icon up there. If your users do not know about that green icon, that is your vanilla set to factory settings. That will save 95% of user support calls if they know about that icon. So I always point that out and say, play with it, do whatever you need to do, and then hit that green button, and you are back to square one. It gives them a sense of fearlessness, which sometimes they don't have if they think that everything is forever. Okay. So we're going to tackle it's going to get a little bit complicated, but we're going to tackle how we did the dynamic sales and volume, the dynamic time intelligence. The sales and volume is pretty easy. You have your basic base measures. It's a nice to have. I'm going to just overload you with information, if that's all right. The measures table at the top of your data model, if you haven't done that before, that's amazing. I don't know if there's a better way to do it now, but back in the day, you had to make a single column table and then delete that column from inside the Power BI report, and then it became a measures table, like that floated magically up to the top, and you can it's just beautiful. So that used to be the trick. I can't remember if you probably won't click it now with updates, but there's a measures table up at the top, and we've got our base measures here. We've got really easy sales and volume, very simple DAX. It's hitting that that fact table, and then I've just got a switch, and I've got a disconnected table which says it's got two options: sales or volume. It's completely disconnected from the rest of the data model. As soon as they hit that table, we know the users hit it and they've made a selection. And then it just has an if statement. It's just saying if they've chosen volume, show the volume, and if not. The only tricky bit was that volume is not measured in pounds and sales is. So we had to do the dynamic string format. I think that came out 1.5 years ago. So you can do that by just clicking on the measure and changing that to the string format, and then specifying your DAX for the formatting of your string. But that's the way you can get a single measure which is user configurable and choosable, and it switches seamlessly, including formatting, between different metrics. Right, brace yourself for the time intelligence. So time intelligence, for the first 4 or 5 years of my career, I hated time intelligence. So I used to try and persuade the client that they didn't really want time intelligence. That was my way of dealing with it. Until I had a client who I couldn't persuade that they didn't want time intelligence. And unfortunately, financially and legally, I had to help them. I do all my time intelligence with Tabular Editor 2 now. And this is not part of this talk, but you can make custom C# scripts, which sounds as difficult. It's difficult for me. It's the only C# script I've ever written. It took me a while. But you can open your data model, and you can apply automatically, including putting them in folders and applying formatting. It takes a bit of setup, but that is its own talk by itself. And you can have beautifully ordered time intelligence versions of base metrics at the click of a switch in Tabular Editor 2. So just putting it out there, if you have to make a lot of time intelligence metrics, the specific client I was working with a few years ago, when my life changed on time intelligence, I counted it up. They wanted 260 versions of specific time intelligence metrics, and we had to automate it, and that's how we did. So that's the DAX there. I'm not going to go through it, but all I'd say is it's very intuitive. We capture stuff in variables at the start, and then we apply them in a calculate function. There's lots of different ways to do time intelligence in Power BI. You can do it with built-in metrics and parameters. And when I write time intelligence functions, I optimize for my intuitive readability of the code. I don't try and chase performance metrics and special kind of built-in native functions. I just try and make it as simple as I can to understand it. It is complicated in this instance because it's weekly data, and weekly data is not very reliable in terms of a Saturday in this year is not necessarily the same as a Saturday last year. So I actually hard coded it into the date table to say what the previous Saturday was. of the previous year and use very kind of simple, kind of methodical DAX to try and get that second prior year. So this period start is today, and then the year before is the max date of the previous year date, which is hard coded into that and prepped and baked into that date table, because weeks are more tricky than months or days. Okay, we probably need timer, Sheb, so you'll have to tell me when we're coming up to time. If you have to pie, if pieing is not an option, you need to do it, then this is how I did it. So sometimes the client can justify a pie chart. First thing, make it a donut chart, obviously. The middle of the pie is never nice. It kind of gets a bit grainy. You get these kind of pixel conflicts as it goes into kind of the epicenter of the zoom. You want to avoid that. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good when they copy out and derez and change reports and put them in emails. So make it a donut chart. Get rid of that ugly center of the pie chart. If we're going to do decorative kind of information sparse elements in our reports, if we're going to lean into that, we might as well just lean into the decorative nature of it. Like, put something beautiful in the middle of that donut chart. Why not? Why wouldn't you? It's decoration anyway. You might as well use it. In this one, it was slightly complicated by the fact that it needs to dynamically color change, which was a bit tricky. The way I did that was we had a PNG transparent overlay on top of a normal color changing thing, because I didn't want to hard code that image and swap between them. So we've got a color changing background with a white and transparent overlay of the client's logo in front. And then next thing, if you are going to pie chart, manually specify each color, so it's not an accident that frozen is blue and chocolate is brown and sauce is kind of looking kind of saucy. So that is not an accident. I hand picked every single one of those colors, and I did that for the client as well. So every single one of the colors in the pie chart is at least coherent with what it's meant to represent. Put easy to read labels around the outside with the percentage in the label. So you could actually just delete the pie chart and just keep the labels, and you'd have the same information. You actually wouldn't lose any information at all. So that's that. And then I put dynamic text colors on the labels, so they gave a sense which actually tells you whether it's increasing or decreasing. And then, I mean, God, I spent a long time with this pie chart. I put the start of the pie chart at 6 p.m. so that the very small granular kind of, you'll notice the right has a lot more labels than the left. If you start at 12, which is the correct way, and my mother, who's a math teacher, admonished me for starting a pie chart not at 12 o'clock. It's the first time I've been admonished by my mother on LinkedIn. But I chose this. It was a purposeful decision. I wanted the labels to weight to the right because that's where the action is, and I wanted to keep them away from the left. And finally, include a button above it to convert it into a table. Is the other thing you should do with every pie chart, and that's the table it converts into. And if you look at the information density on the table, the pie chart only covers the yellow bit of the table, and they're the same size. They fit into the pixels are the same, and the amount of real estate on your dashboard is the same. So tables are ridiculously better than pie charts in terms of a pixel density and information side of things, and also they export easily to Excel. Right. I'm disappearing back into philosophy. What does Power BI do better than everything else? It's a rhetorical question because I'm going to answer it with the next slide. But if anyone wants to jump in and tell us what Power BI does better than anything else, a bit more specific. So, okay, it's all right. Don't worry. I've already answered the question. So. Microsoft, so those are all elements in Microsoft Stack. You've got Microsoft Dynamics, the operating system, the operational system. The users can get the same information there a lot of the time. Excel, they've already been using that for years. They know how to use it. SSRS does not beautiful, but it does a good job of paginated reports and invoices and stuff like that. SQL, you can get all the data there. You know, you don't have to put it in Power BI. You can just do a SQL query against it. And then PowerPoint, which has a chart in the logo. So that's obviously the contender against Power BI. Why would you need to make a Power BI report when you could just look at it in the PowerPoint? But I think this is what Power BI does better than everything else. So I remember 7 years ago, something like that, when I first saw Power BI, and I was a SQL developer, and I've been a SQL developer for years then, and I saw it do this, and I thought, I can't compete with that. Nothing can compete with that. Excel can't compete with that. The clickable nature of it, the fact that you can in milliseconds click across different tables, especially with the control click, and get really specific aggregations. That's not sped up, that's real time. And this is a big data set. Nothing can compete with that inside the Microsoft stack. So that's what I think is the magic of Power BI. And that's what I've geared the dashboard around. Right. Before I saw that in Power BI, every single dashboard I'd seen felt like it was behind a pane of glass, which isn't what I want. I was a SQL engineer for 3 years before I got into Power BI. I wanted to get as close and as intimate with the data as I could, but I felt like everything, you'd click on it and it wouldn't. It was like it was behind a pane of glass. I couldn't interact with it. And this is from 1849. I found this morning. His costume is impressive. Daring. 1849. It was all the vogue. And the mustache. He looks happy. That's where you want the users to be. That's the revolution. You want them to be clicking on things. You want them to be slightly mauled by a lion. But that was the revolution to me. The fact that you could be immersed in the data in a way that these kind of SSRS, you have to go up to the top left and apply a filter and then rerun it and wait 20 seconds. And it's not the same. It's not as good. Right. The best Power BI report ever. Bold words. Let's go to the competition. We can't say that it's the best one ever without going to the competition. I haven't chosen anyone in this room for the competition, don't worry. The competition is the award-winning, worldwide event-leading competition, Power BI competition. We've got Microsoft host one, everyone across the world, millions of developers, and they pick the best. I've got 4 of them, and Maven Analytics. And this is what happens when you click, as of this morning, on their Power BI dashboards. So the first one, this is a vertical one, very SSRS-y. Nothing happens when you click on it. I mean, it's very useful if you're interested in data marriages in Mexico. The second one is, again, award-winning. This 1 week 2. This is a lovely dashboard, and the shots made, the visual is really good. But you can't click on anything. You've got the filters on the left, and that's it. You're not in the lion cage. This is the climate crisis. Very, very good. Very pretty colors. Completely non-interactive. Like, you cannot click on it. And then line charts, not good for clicking on. And this is, if we go to the Mavens challenge, beautiful, absolutely beautiful Spotify dashboard, which you cannot click on. Then the final one on the Mavens is actually, this is good. This is nice. It's got a proper data model behind it. It actually interacts. You can see the right hand side is broken, but other than that, it's pretty good. You can click on anything on the left and the middle will go, and you can click on the middle and the left will go. The right hand side is kind of gone wandering. So those are the best Power BI, objectively, the best Power BI dashboards in the entire world. 7 of them. The last one was pretty good, but that's the competition. Let's meet the users, because we've got to keep an eye on those users. these are the users. Friendly bunch. They're a little bit disheveled. They've been with Excel for quite a while. I think they're going to greet us with gratitude. I think that's going to be the overarching emotion when they see our fancy dashboards. Nice guys. What do the users want? Users want what all users want. Freedom. And that's what Excel gives you. It gives you the freedom to download the data, put it on a USB stick, leave it on a train. It gives you the freedom to to do whatever you need to do. If you've got Excel and you've got access to the data in Excel, you have the full freedom to pivot table on pivot table. You can do macros. You can do Python now, which is a security. Luckily, I don't work in data security, but that sounds like a nightmare. But yeah, freedom. That's what you're competing against. And freedom is born of choice. That's essentially the driver of freedom. Are you allowing the user to choose? So this is the diagram of a choose your own adventure book from 1979. You can. It's really interesting. Like Jane disappears, jumped to death, eaten by a cat, turned into a mouse. It's really good. Read your own adventure, choose your own adventure books. It's not a very popular kind of narrative medium, but they do get reread. Like people don't. War and Peace. You read it once, you read it twice. It's still War and Peace. It hasn't changed. Choose your own adventure books. They're addictive. People really care about them. So that's what I'm looking for with my Power BI dashboards. Right, this is my Power BI dashboard, the best one. A shout out to James Dales who did Icon Map, because that is a beautiful map, and the interactivity. He did a talk a year ago. You can click on everything and it all works. Even the date, which meant I had to make a disconnected date table to show where the time intelligence started, because as soon as you click on a date table, then you're locked in. So even the dates on the chart, everything is fully connected and dynamic. And also, like, the amount of real estate that's changing with every click is the entire dashboard. It's not like, oh, you've lost the right hand side or you've lost the left. It's like, no, everything's connected. I'll stop showing off. So this is what sold me on Power BI. How are we doing for time? Cool. Visual display as control interface. I was used to SSRS in the old days, where you looked at the screen and then you went over to a different part of the filter section, made your changes, and then published them and sent them, and then 20 seconds later you got a different screen. I was used to SQL and Python, where you change the code and then you get a different result. But Power BI was the only one where I could look at the information, click on the bit that I found interesting, and everything else would change. It's worth saying there's certain visuals that are clickable and are going to be good for this. There's certain visuals that are not. So KPI cards, gauges, and line charts. Lovely, absolutely lovely visuals. You cannot click on them at all. Line charts, arguably you can choose your path, but it's very hard to select a date. And KPI cards, even though they did enter into the dashboard that I made, they're dead pixels from a interactivity point of view. They're read only. So I've seen dashboards built by professionals that are made exclusively out of KPIs, gauges, and line charts. That's all they use, and they're just dead static portals of glass. Compared to tables, great. You can click on any row. Bar charts, click on a bar. Pie charts. I mean, Johnny had his woes with them, but you can click on them. Maps and tree maps, they're all very clickable. I've said it before, and Sheb has already drummed it into you to say a data model. You want a data model. You want a star schema data model. Johnny has also said it, and Patrick from Guy in the Cube said it 4 years ago. You want a star schema data model for Power BI always. because choose your own adventure requires a data model. You can't do a. I see. I've been to a few clients where I see the one query per visual data models with all disconnected. Single query. Every single visual has its own individual query. Nothing interacts. You need a solid star schema data model at the back end to preserve freedom of movement. You allow snowflakes, that's fine. I'm not a purist on star versus snowflake schema. And you need simple DAX, count, sum the sales. It doesn't have to be complicated. Don't hard code things into the DAX. Push everything back to the data model and make it a star schema, and then you will have your choose your own adventure data model. Right, and then this is a user going on an adventure. This is what I want. I want them to click on things, and I want them to see what's meaningful to them, and explore, and go forward. I'm showing off the tooltips and stuff, but the core element is the journey that they can go on. Showing off the time intelligence that took me way too long to do. And then you can always go to a deep dive. So you can do a one-click deep dive button, which is your get out of jail free. If you've exhausted the real estate on a certain screen and you want to get them to the next level, the next view where they can go deeper, you can open up drill through. It is. You can do drill through the traditional way, which is where you right click and then go down to the third option and then open that up and then go down to the left. But I've never managed to train a user to actually do that more when I'm not in the room. Right. I think that's the end of that section. That was the Sweet Shop showcase. I think it's a good Power BI report for a 2024 build. I don't think it's the best one ever. I think the people in this room will do a lot better. But that's the best I could do in 2024. Thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions while the kimono is lifted? Does anyone want to know any specific things? That's the full dashboard. Or is everyone relatively happy? Hi.
Just out of interest, how did the it's absolutely amazing by that. Did you have a lot of interaction with the people who were using it? Do they ever have any? I know you said there was that refresh button at the top that solves a lot of problems. Were there any other problems they have to navigate that? I know I've worked with people at my organisation, and a lot of them are not data and stuff isn't their background, so I sometimes really don't get a bit overwhelmed if they see something. Not that my reports are even curious about that, but if they see a dashboard or a report like that, then they get a bit.
So a few things. So you do that in the meetings. So I don't have a form where they write down things. I'm a bit mean in the meetings. I tend to ask them to do things. I ask them to share their screen straight away, and then I ask them to answer questions. And I see what questions they get stuck on, and then if they get stuck on a certain bit of the journey, then I'll open up a drill through, or I'll make something block something off, or I'll try and help them that way. So the way I find out about user journeys is through real time, talking to the user in real time with them sharing their screen. The second thing is there's a lot of people who are afraid of breaking things, and they're afraid of clicking on things. They almost think like, yeah, or the computer will hurt them or something like, it's just a general kind of fear. So I tend to break it in front of them in the meeting, in large meetings. I tell them how to break it. I say the way to break it is always you open up a table or a visual and then apply specific filters in the right hand filter pane with that visual selected, and then you forget that you've done that. That's the best way to break a Power BI report. And then you show them the green button, the magic green button, and say, this will make everything fine. It'll be like you never made any mistakes whatsoever. And if you ever get in trouble, you can just press that green button and the world will be right again. And then they seem to, even the scared ones, they seem to be okay. And then if you can't convince them that way, then eventually they'll get outcompeted by their colleagues, which is good. Any other questions?
For the branding, the logo change.
Yeah.
Could you not use the bookmark sort of idea?
Yeah, you can. I don't like bookmarks.
Okay.
The reason I don't like bookmarks is because maintenance. If anyone's ever had to maintain, but it's a bit like the copy and paste. It's almost the same as copying and pasting the entire report, but you've got the data model there. So I do use bookmarks, and Simon's the starter guide. That is a bookmark, but I was very careful. I select the visuals that I want to be hidden and not hidden. I set it to visuals only and not data. So yeah, I don't know if others have got into bookmark maintenance hell, but it exists and it's easy to get into. So that's why I chose the path of dynamic DAX. Any other questions? Yep. Yeah. So I'm not trying to I'm not trying to kill anything, but zero maintenance, zero. I installed it a year ago, and the client still likes it, and they've asked me to come back next week and add a new retailer or segment. So I'm working on it with them next week, and it's been zero maintenance, which yeah, it's very rare. Maybe they're just not telling me about it. Yep.
And I just wondered if you either used or seen any of the, the co-pilot stuff for Power BI. It seemed like it was quite recent. I've seen one or two demos of it. Yeah, it looks like potentially pretty powerful. People basically just type in commands and just create load of pages with it.
Yeah. I've tried to use it. I've tried to implement it. Someone, a very senior executive in a large government institution, got the AI bug and said everything should be AI. But why mess with the beauty of the millisecond you look at something and you click on it? You have to translate your request into words. That sounds like work to me. So I think if you design your interactivity right, and if you get visuals that you can just see what's interesting about the visual, click at that spot, and you're into the new portal, which tells you everything about the thing that you found interesting. If you've got that mechanism, then AI can't really compete with that. You're just adding a kind of middle layer of verbosity, which isn't needed. So I think the magic of Power BI will interactive dashboards with Power BI where you click on things you like and you get taken forward in the journey. I don't see it being a competitor if you've got that, but I may be wrong. Yep.
My name is Sid, and thank you very much for your presentation. I have noticed you focused a lot on the visuals. I have three questions about the visuals. First question, what are the latest new trends of using visuals in Power BI other than Python?
So I don't know much about the new trends because this was built a year ago. Maybe I'm slightly long in the tooth, but I think it's hard to beat a bar chart. Like, how are you going to beat that? How are you going to beat a table? Like, how are you going to beat? All right, pie charts are hard, but how are you going to beat a pie chart? Like, they're old. They've been around for thousands of years. Some of them. Like, maybe the thing that comes out next week will be like, oh, so much better. But the chances of beating a bar chart or a line chart, they're not high. So even if new visuals do come up, I will adopt them, but I'm not holding my breath.
In the big segments of the Power BI, we see a lot of wonderful visuals which are not, we don't see them in the Power BI normally. We don't see them in the Python. I don't know where they take them.
No, well, it's hard to improve. Like, people were doing data analysis in the 17th century with pen and paper, and they were making bar charts and tables. And it's like, we've been doing it for hundreds of years. So it's nice to have fancy new stuff, but have you, like, yeah, I think the old stuff is so strong. You've really got competition there with the new stuff. Shep, did you put your hand up? Sorry.
Second is a technical question. For example, somebody import your dashboard in Power BI.
Sorry, they what? Sorry.
This is a technical question.
Yep.
If somebody import you a complete dashboard of the Power BI.
They imported a complete dashboard in Power BI.
Yes. And sometime, maybe most time, it doesn't, the map visual of the Power BI doesn't work in other regions.
Yep.
It doesn't work in the desktop, it doesn't work in the service. Even both admin clicked on the filled in map option, still it doesn't work.
Okay. Yep.
What's the solution?
You use James Dale's Icon Map Pro. That's how you get around that one. So James Dale's, he founded Cantis. He gave a talk at one of these a year ago. You use his visual for maps, and you'll be fine. You use James Dale's of Cantis, who gave a talk last year. You use Icon Map Pro, and you'll be fine. It's the visual that's, I think, causing the problems.
That might be the paid version.
It might be. There's a free one too. Any other questions? Yep. Yep. It lives on the client's personal Power BI Pro account. It was a cash sale. No one knew about it. I offered some training, and they happened to deploy this from their personal account while I did the training. Any other questions? I know we're at time, aren't we? Yeah, hard work that was. So Simon knows about this more than I do, but come back. The hidden is a book. That's bookmarks, and there's hidden visuals that were lovingly prepared in PowerPoint, and then exported to image, and then put in the background, hidden. No one can see them until you click on there, and then the visual opens up and it takes you to a bookmark, and there's a bookmark for each element, being very careful to only affect selected visuals and not affect the data. And that was how that was done. It's whenever the user clicks on the starter guide. So yeah, that's, and I can't take credit for that. That is Simon's idea, and he's just there. And I can't say that it's easy to implement. It's only for the very few clients who you really love, and it's only if they're having real trouble, and it takes a long time. I think we're done. Cheers, guys.
Okay, we're just going to take a quick comfort break, so grab a drink, it's outside, get all set up, and we'll get into the second straight away.
Yeah, thanks.
Sorry, which one is TV?
I might need to extend it. I think Shep's got it. I'm going to be watching. I'm going to be in the audience.
If I do this, does it still share? And then if I do this, yes. Right. And then how do I? Can you make again?
Thanks, everyone, and thanks to Sean for his presentation. Before we get started on Holly's session, we're just going to give a few minutes to Harry just to introduce Gravitas, what they do, etc., and how you can get involved and get in touch.
Yeah. Hi guys. So yeah, Gravitas obviously sponsoring the event. So thank you everyone for coming. We're an IT change and transformation and data recruitment agency. So we work with a bunch of clients, literally all up and down the country, even in Europe as well. And we will have roles advertised in the data space at the minute. And I'm trying really hard to find a technical architect in data at the minute with some talent experience. So if you know anyone, please, for the love of God, let me know, because it's been a tough one at the minute, especially. So yeah, that's what we do. I know you shared the QR code at the start.
Yeah.
So yeah, feel free to obviously reach out to myself afterwards, or go on our website. There'll be a bunch of roles there for you all. And yeah, thank you for coming along.
Thank you. Holly, the stage is yours.
All right. Hello, everyone. It is wonderful to see you all this evening. Welcome to this talk. I'm going to be talking about Databricks, specifically Databricks SQL. I'm Holly, and I work for Databricks in developer relations. And I'd like to give you a really nice demo. But to do that, we're going to have to suspend our belief in reality for a little moment and pretend that I don't work at Databricks. And instead, I work for a ghost kitchen. Who's familiar with what a ghost kitchen is? 1, 2 people. Excellent. Okay. So who here has ordered food from something like Uber Eats or Just Eat or equivalent before? There's either a lot of people who are very coy here and admitting to their junk food problem, or you're very healthy people. But sometimes when you order from somewhere like Uber Eats, let's say you're ordering from McDonald's, the food's not actually made in a McDonald's that has seating, that has a restaurant. Sometimes it's made in an industrial state somewhere because it's cheaper to have a kitchen in the middle of nowhere and deliver from there rather than have a kitchen in the center of the city and then ship that around there. And so that is what a ghost kitchen is. And so, yeah, so these kitchens, and they operate under kind of different brands. So our ghost kitchen that we have, so we're going to take this a lot further. So we're going to cook for multiple restaurants. They all have their own menu. Sometimes the food overlaps, making it a little bit easier for the chefs. And collectively, we are known as Casper's Kitchen. And as for the mechanics of it, so we don't have any of our own drivers, we don't have our own app, or even a standalone website. You just get a stream of items to cook, and at the end of it, you facilitate the pickup. So we're entirely dependent on multiple apps for order placement, and I'm sure this isn't going to be any foreshadowing for any issues that we're going to have in the future. Now, you might be asking, why would a ghost kitchen have an analyst? Well, after the untimely passing of the previous owner, our new CEO is super into technology, and that's why I was hired. And oh, look, I have an email from him now. I got a notification that the grill restaurant is saying that if we don't improve the ratings, they're going to remove us from their kitchens. Fix this now. Don't leave the office until this is sorted. Sleep under your desk. And I'm going to have to break the fourth wall a little bit here for a moment, because originally when I had this idea, I was going to have the CEO's name as Elon, but then he started doing a bunch of weird hand gestures, and that made it really uncomfortable. So I'd like to introduce you to his less intense mirror universe personality, Elon. And so we've got Elon, and he's unhappy as our CEO. And so he's unhappy with the rating from our restaurant. So let's start there, and let's start quickly. So I'm going to switch to Databricks. And, oh, my warehouse is... Oh, my laptop has got the spinning beach ball of death. This is not good.
This is part of the talk, right?
Yeah, this is what I have as a ghost kitchen analyst. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, well, whilst I wait for this to sort itself out, I'm going to start by saying this is a Genie space. Actually, I'm going to start by saying, who here has ever worked with Databricks before? Some people, this might be the first time you're ever seeing Databricks before. Okay, so this is not the kind of standard equivalent. It also doesn't normally beach ball itself to death that often. And the idea is here with Genie, what I have is a bunch of data, and I'm able to interact with it in plain English. This is absolutely not going to fix itself. Can I stop? Should I stop streaming, or should I? Like, I'm sorry, I don't know.
You need to disconnect. You just do what you need to do.
I don't know whether it's the stream, whether it's... Off and on again. Oh man, this has just died.
2 minutes of
Back on track. And I can say, and so I've got a bunch of, no, I can't ask a bunch of questions because my laptop has decided to die. What do we think, team? Am I going to have to stop the stream?
You can stop the stream, yeah. You can stop it, then we can restart. Or you can completely stop it.
I think I might have to completely stop it. I'm sorry. Well, if I promise a nice recording for you to upload at a different date. Okay. Sorry, everyone online. Both of you. It's a hard time, to be honest. I'm shocked so many of you came here before Bank Holiday Friday, candidly. All right, let's try and crash this again. This is a first. Huh. I can ask it to show me the code as well. So here I'm saying, what's my average star rating? It's saying based on the data that it's sending me. Based on these 3 tables, here is my average star rating. And I can see that it's joined everything together in the correct way. But I've realized I don't want my average star rating over all time. What I want is my average star rating. Excellent. Actually, I want this over time. So what's the star rating over time? Let's see what it does with the typo. And it will go and it will get the context about the data. It will check for the timestamps, and it should go ahead and do this for me as it thinks. So not only have I got the data here that is split out, it's given me a table, but it's also given me a bar chart as well. So if I wanted to change this I could change it. You can also change the chart that you've got as well. You get some nice little tooltips. And if I really wanted to, I could download it, but I don't know who would ever be interested in this. And we can see that Elon is right. We do, in fact, have a problem with what's going on here. So maybe what do we think we want to do as well? So maybe we could say something like, can you break this down by brand? And let's see if it will do anything with that. And so this is incredibly useful in terms of, oh, that's quick. You know, in terms of being able to see the results of what you've got here. You can also change the types of charts that you're doing, and you can also edit them as well. Oh no, it's done it by my restaurant rather than the delivery company instead. So instead, I can say, what's the rating by delivery company? And hopefully this is going to give me something that is a bit more usable, because again, we've got all of our restaurants that we are working with here, and you can see that actually all of them are going down over time. So this is something kind of a bit systematic. And this is not quite what I wanted. I did want to have a line chart over time, but I didn't really ask for that. So, but what I can see is actually it's Uber Eats that's got the problem. So this is around kind of 4.5 at the moment, and in the realm of 5-star ratings, like this is pretty terrible. And then this is kind of 4.6. This is the one that's kind of got the problem. So I think we've got some problems with this. So let's go back and see what are the options that we've got here. Ooh. So my angry email. So I think it's a problem with one of our delivery teams that we've got. So not only do we have, in our example, we've got DoorDash and we've got Uber Eats, we also have the option where the customer can come to our industrial estate and pick up their food as well. But I think maybe there's something that's happened with Uber Eats to say that the order size has changed over time. So let's go ahead and investigate that. So, sorry, quick question. So I know some of you said that you'd, oh, are you kidding me? Why? Why does this? I know some of you have said that you'd not really used Databricks before, but I'm going to talk you through the kind of basics of the interface. So on the left-hand side here, we've got pretty much everything that Databricks does. I'm not going to go through all of that today. I'm going to go through maybe 20% of it. But I'm going to go through some of the workspace, some of the notebooks that I've got here, and some of the data that I've got to be able to diagnose what's going wrong here, aside from my laptop, which I should have got an upgrade for, but I didn't because I was an idiot. So I think I just have to crash Chrome each time. This is terrible. What if instead
Is it a network thing? Is it because it's?
I could turn the VPN off. Still broken.
Does it work in a different browser? Were you in Chrome?
Yeah.
Does it work in a different browser? I'm just sort of
I
guessing.
don't fancy setting up Arc because I'm not very good at it, frankly. Okay, I think it's this connection. What if I don't full screen?
Are you extending your display or mirroring it?
Just doing an entire window. Let's do entire
So maybe
screen.
do a Chromecast.
Okay. Let's see if there's. Can you see that? Is that okay? Yeah. Okay. So this is what Databricks looks like when you first get here. So you can see I've got kind of a bunch of things that I've been working on today. I can see what my favorites are, and should tell me that I've got this Databricks intro here. On the left-hand side, there might be a few things that you recognize in terms of what they sort of might do. So we've got things like the compute. So if you're using like a SQL warehouse, this is where that gets set up. I've got some dashboards. Don't worry, I'll show you some of those later. They are not as good as the ones we saw earlier. But we've got also workflows. We've got a bunch of AI stuff as well, which we're not really going to focus on today. So in my fictitious example that I have, I'm actually going to have to ask for a bunch of email data. So can I do, this is going to break it. Maybe. All right then. So I don't have any access to this data, so I need to ask Uber Eats for it. So I'm going to email them and say, hey, can you email me a bunch of data? And they say it's not really our policy to provide this data, but at your risk of being deplatformed, we can make an exception this one time. Please find attached the latest 12 months of data. So I've taken this data. And what I've got here is I've got my notebook, and so I'm going to have a look at my sweet CSV data that I've got. I'm going to then turn it into a Delta table. I'm then going to do some ETL with it, and then I'm trying to try and figure out what's going on. If you've never seen Databricks before, there's a few things that you might not be aware of. So we've got access to lots of different ways of storing our data. So just like any other warehouse that you have things like a catalog, which is this high-level stuff here. You have databases. My review data that I used earlier, I've got things here, like I've got the direct data. And then also I can go in and I can view information about this table as well. So here I can see that this table that I used earlier, things like I've been able to set up a primary key, I've got all my descriptions and things like that. One thing that's important to note is I'm not always going to keep my data in CSV. CSV is great for humans, but it is terrible for machines. So I'm going to try and turn that into Delta as soon as possible so that I can have some more efficient queries. In terms of some sample data, I'm going to have that. And then there's a huge amount of information that you can get access to as well. The history is also very useful when it loads. And then you've also got the insights and the quality as well. So let's go back to my notebook that I was using. Where did I put it? Here we go. So in the same way that you can have tables within a database, you can also have kitchen orders. You can also have not just tables, but you can also have volumes as well. And so this is a way of having unstructured data so that I can put CSVs in here, I could put images in here, I can put anything like JSON data, anything that's really ugly and not quite ready to be put into a table yet, because I don't really know what's there. So this is where my email data has gone. And from Databricks, clusters that I told not to, right, yes. I can just select from it and see what I've got going on here. So I've got some CSV data, the column headings didn't save, but I've got a bunch of information in here about the order number, the IDs, I've got like the brand of the restaurant, I've got the things that people ordered, the quantity, the price, and everything like that. So I'm going to try and save everything that I've got here. So I'm just going to do these. And I'm actually really lazy as an analyst, so I'm just going to ask the AI to do a lot of this for me. So can you write a create table, if not exists, for the above CSV, and what are we going to with the following columns? And let's see, what did we have? We had order ID, unique, or pickup ID. We had the brand, or the restaurant, I should say, restaurant. Let's see if I can spell. What else do we have? The menu item, quantity, price, total price. Should have made a smaller table, really, shouldn't I? And also the driver. And let's see what that goes about doing. So, create table if not exists. Let's go ahead and run this. Missing cloud file system. Okay, I just want an empty. I don't want that location there. So let's just do this. Create table if not exists. I don't want using CSV. And that looks pretty good. So now I'm going to go ahead and copy my data into this. So again, I'm very lazy. Can you write a copy into statement for the above CSV to go into my table, and I can use this at syntax to create this emailed data, which is not picked up on for some reason above. The joys of live demos. So let's see if this goes ahead and works. Saves me typing it out each time. Oh, for goodness sake. Oh, because I didn't add in the part to my CSV, which I actually have up here, which is all in my volume. This is actually false. Brilliant. So I'm just going to go ahead and diagnose the error here because I have my assistant to help with this. So I'm also going to turn on the merge schema for this. I can just pop this right into the cell here. I can go ahead and run it. And let's see if the demo gods really hate me today, but something's running, so this looks like it might be useful. Okay then, so I can see that I've got my my data has been loaded into here, and now I can do normal things like select star from my email data and see what it goes ahead and does. And okay, I'm really sorry, I'm going to cheat. Because I know this is not giving me the right syntax, where it should be, please all avert your eyes, because I actually cheated and I got the code earlier here because I knew this would be a little bit tricky. Why did I opt for live demo? It really is, isn't it? And I think this is not going to quite work because hang on, line items. So we've got order ID, line item ID, restaurant name, menu item quantity. You should be price, total price from there. So now let's see if this works. Oh, because I didn't make this table, did I?
So what stage are we at here in like the ingestion process?
So this is still the kind of E part of the extract.
Okay. Some of the things actually, is it all these changes you're making, all these codes you're writing, is it saving it to the database, or is it sort of just keeping in memory? Or
sure, so that's a great question. Thank you for saving me. So I have this kitchen orders table here, and I've got this line items table, and so this is the one that I have created. So I've got my line items table here. It's just an empty table, but I've gone ahead and created. Thank you. And total price. Oh, hang on. Don't know why I thought that was that. And I think I know what the problem is. Because the value of type string, you know what? Where's my timestamp not come on? Oh, because that's C8. Okay, so let's. Hey, there we go. So now we've got our line items table. And if I go and search for our line items table, fingers crossed, everyone, let's see if it's actually worked. Huzzah! It has worked. Wonderful. So we do have a bit of issues here with the price per item, but actually I don't think I need that, because what I'm actually trying to find out is what the quantity is for my order and what's going on here. So trying to understand if the order number has changed over time. So let's just do, so I've got select star from kitchen here. Actually, I think what I want is the order ID. And let's do a count of the quantity. And you'll get to play the game of try and find my syntax errors before I hit enter. But actually, we've got another assistant here, which is going to help me with the grey text, and it comes up. So I've got this, which is quite nice. But now this is just a table. And so what I can do is I can look at this as a visualization. So this is a scatter plot. I don't know why it's gone for that. I've got my order ID. I've got the sum of the order ID here. I don't think this is quite what I wanted, but all you visualization people can tell me how I got this query very, very wrong. But ultimately, what I can see here is that for all of my orders, like I've got a few that are kind of increasing over time, but there's not, there were still things that were happening previously. I also don't have my timestamp in here either. So maybe I add in my timestamp. And actually, I just want to count the quantity over time. And what's quite nice about having it with the timestamp, as I edit it, is that I can quickly change this between kind of weeks and months. And what I can see here is that I've got kind of an overall trend of things that are going up. But we were kind of expecting this trend. This is kind of a very kind of quick way to interact with your data, to just kind of check on the fly as you're going whether this is kind of the right direction. And so is this the same as a Power BI dashboard? Absolutely not. But it's a very nice way that you can query your data and very quickly visualize what's going on. Is this looking like the way that you thought it was? And actually, now that I look at this, I can see that I'm actually missing some data here. I can see that it goes up to March. We're in fact in April. So I think we need to go back to our previous people and say, hey, we've got a few problems here. So, is it the full screen that's giving me problems? Oh, if I present like this, I'm really sorry. I think this is going to be the way to stop this crashing. So I say, hey, I'm missing the most recent data. Can you check what you've sent and send over the latest file? And they're very efficient there because they've already emailed back saying, please find attached the remaining file. All the best in your impending deplatforming. Oh dear. So now that I know that I've got this this missing data, which I am through the magic of demos, I am going to quickly run here, which is now failed. Oh my goodness. On the cell, and what this is going to do is it's actually going to load in a new CSV into my volume, and I'm going to have the latest order month that is going to arrive within here. So I've already made this table, so I've got my CSV data. I've already made the table, and when I copied into, I had 7,800 records, and now, fingers crossed, when I run this again, in theory, it should do this incrementally. And it doesn't. Oh my goodness. Why is this saying table does not exist? Create an empty div. Oh, thank you very much. Give a golden banana to the man over there. Right. I'm glad someone's paying attention. It's not me. Okay, and so now, fingers crossed, because this will do things incrementally, I didn't have to run all of that ingest all over again. I can just add the new CSVs in there and we can do a lot of incremental work. There's loads of stuff like this in Databricks. Copy into is one of the most basic ones, but we've got things like autoloader. So no matter how many files you've got, you can make this automatically happen. So now when I run this again, I can see what this is looking like over time. Oh, and I can see it's actually gone down the number of orders that we had, which feels like there might be, it's not quite maybe the thing that was there. I think with the visualizations as well, maybe like I edit this and I've got the sum here. So maybe I want to have a look at something like the standard deviation, or kind of like, has the maximum number changed over time? It looks like it kind of hasn't. And so again, like I can very kind of quickly interrogate this data to see whether, well, minimum is 1, no shocker there, whether something is actually going on kind of crazy over time here. So yeah, I feel like this really isn't giving me anything interesting. So I feel like that's hypothesis number one. It's not really this thing that we're trying to look for. So what can we do instead? So, oh, I'm getting all of my hidden pages coming through now. And it looks like Elon's messaged me again saying, why are you taking so long? It's obvious that it's caused by the drivers working at multiple apps at once. We're getting played and you haven't stopped it. Find the evidence so we can fire them. Thanks, Elon. Okay, so hypothesis two is maybe some batching. So this is where drivers deliver for multiple apps at the same time. Oh, spoilers, you can see everything on the left-hand side. Man, this is going terribly, isn't it? So the idea with batching is that if you're one driver, you could use Uber Eats and you could use something like DoorDash. You could have two apps on the go at the same time. This does happen in real life, where the drivers then try to double up on their pay because they know they're coming to the best ghost kitchen in all the town, which is obviously ours, and then they're delivering to similar areas. So instead, how can we go about investigating this? So I have this real-time data where I have got all of our sign-in data. So I think the way that we're going to investigate this is we've got our sign-in data. We don't have much information. Remember, we don't have the app. We don't have a lot of information about the customers. We don't really know what's going on here. But we do have the driver name. So if we know, and they've got very strange names, I will tell you, they've got very odd names. So I think if we see the same name coming up with different orders, but in a similar time window, maybe we could catch them out. Maybe we could find out whether they're batching or not, because they'll be there. We've got our board, which says, you know, Holly, you need to pick up this order. We have that data. Now, I already have a dashboard, which I've gone ahead and set up. And this does have schedule, which I think I broke. Excellent. Which is doing our real-time data for us. And I can see what's coming in here. So again, this is nowhere near the level of the dashboard that we saw earlier. And if you are wondering, yes, you can connect Power BI to Databricks and get some pretty good performance out of it. But this is what we've got at the moment. We've got our live drive data coming from our drivers. This data is constantly appending. And so if you've ever been in a situation where you're using maybe something a bit more old-fashioned in terms of SQL, there's no such thing as a table lock when we're using something like this. Because we're using Delta, which is an open format that goes on our storage, there's no such thing as a lock. So I can constantly have this data appending and constantly updating, but I can always read from it, and I'm always going to be guaranteed a correct version, no half states or anything like that from our data that is coming there. When it comes to our we had our Genie earlier. We've got exactly the same thing with our dashboard as well. You can ask follow-up questions about your particular dashboard. You don't quite have the level of kind of drill down that you did previously. But you also do have, I think someone asked about AI authoring earlier. So you actually have that in here as well. So what I can do is if I wanted, I can add on another chart. And so I can start asking the assistant to start creating a chart, and it will even suggest some things to me as well. So maybe, so I've got the number of deliveries. So can you show me, I don't know, time difference over time, sign-in time, and I can use this, and it can kind of jumpstart what I'm doing. To be able to get this, and formatting has gone wrong, so no, it's not going to be doing that. But I think that was my fault for doing something earlier. So yeah, so you can get these things to kind of help speed up what it is that you're doing. So let's go back to my published version. Thank goodness it's not included that other thing. So with this, you know, this is my dashboard that I have. With my notebook. So because this is constantly appending, I can always query from it, and it will always give me the latest up-to-date thing. So let's have a think about this query that we wanted to write. So we wanted the driver name. We definitely wanted the sign-in time, and I'm not quite sure what the logic is for this. So can you make this 10-minute intervals, please? Got to say please. And let's see whether that does what we need it to. And then we also want to count not just the driver name and the sign-in time, but we also want the facilitator as well. So we want to be able to count whether within that 10-minute batch they are picking up from more than one facilitator. So they're doing Uber Eats and they're doing DoorDash. So let's say count distinct facilitator from this. We also need our group by, don't we? Group by. If I do 1, 2, 3, you're going to tell on me. Yes. Okay. Fine. And I think we also need to remove where facilitator is just a customer who's picking it up, because we know that that doesn't count. So where facilitator is not equal to customer. Something that I can do, which is quite nice with these tables, is not just be able to add visualizations on, but I can start searching for things that are displayed in my data as well. So if I wanted to, I could search for customer and it will show these things on the right hand side, which is quite nice. You can also filter out some things as well. So if I wanted to say, I don't know where, let's find all of Jareth's deliveries. If I wanted to, I could say driver name equals Jareth, and it should come back with everything that Jareth has done for him. Bless him. He's got a weird name, keeps on working though, good for him. And I can keep adding filters if I want to. And again, I can explore the columns and kind of slice and dice things as well. But I don't want the whole table. Let's see if my SQL actually works, shall we? So my sign-in time didn't work. This AI is not doing very well today. I think, let's say, let's yell at it and see what happens. This returned a null. I want a time interval. I want, a time interval of 10 minutes. And I'm not going to say please this time. And let's see whether this works. Oh dear, this is not my day. Anyway, here's one I made earlier. It's this interval syntax that gave me first time round, but I'm surprised it didn't give me the second time round. So let's try this. Ta-da! This is much more what I wanted. So I've got the driver name, I've got their interval, so this has rounded them to the nearest 10 minutes, which is a kind of sensible window for us. And then I've got the count of the facilitator. So I can only see some ones here. So let's name you, shall we, as count facilitator. And rather than remembering my having syntax, I can just say where count facilitator is greater than 1. And let's see if it returns anything, and we can see whether this is happening. Oh, we can see that it's happening. And in fact, I'm going to turn this into a visualization so that we can see how much this is happening over time. So let's say we do this over weeks. Let's add a column. So we've got the count facilitator. Let's do the max, shall we? And we can see that it's happening like a little bit. Let's go back on what I said, and let's do the having here. Having, the line is going up because we are doing well as a business. So having a count facilitator greater than 1, and let's see what this comes back with. And yeah, it's kind of happening a little bit, but given that we're doing hundreds of orders a day, I don't think this is meaningful to warrant our tank in star rating. You know, if 5 people, and again, maybe some people are doing this kind of naturally and organically, and as the numbers are going up, I don't actually think this is what we want. So unfortunately, hypothesis 2, where the drivers are delivering for multiple apps at the same time, is maybe not the smoking gun